My name is Dylan. I'm one of the animal care specialists here at OdySea Aquarium, and I'm hanging out with my friends Sedona and Sammy, another one of our animal care specialists. Now, Sedona is one of our African penguins that we have here at the aquarium. We actually have a colony of 38 penguins here at the aquarium that all together here at Penguin Point. Now, you heard me mention that these are an African penguin, and usually Africa isn't the first place that comes to mind when we think about penguins. Unfortunately enough, that's because of a lot of TV and movies. There are 18 species of penguin out there, and only 5 out of those 18 actually live in that Antarctic environment in those cold temperatures. Most penguin species, well, they live in warm and seasonal areas. Places like the Galapagos, South Africa, South America, Australia, and New Zealand. So all these animals reside on the southern hemisphere. That's below the equatorial line. And sometimes those Galapagos penguins pop up and down between that line. But for the most part, again, all these animals are in the southern hemisphere. So if you've seen those Coca-Cola commercials with the polar bears and penguins hanging out, that would never really happen. So with our penguins here at the aquarium, we like to do a lot of different things to stimulate them, interact with them throughout the day. So spending one-on-one time out on the floor like this right now is great enrichment and great social time between us and our penguins. A big question we'll get here at the aquarium quite often is, how do you pick the penguins you work with? And the answer is, well, we don't really get to. They pick us. Penguins are a monogamous animal. Now, in the human world, monogamy means usually mating for life. But in the penguin world, in the animal kingdom, monogamy is defined by one mate at a time. The cool thing about penguins, though, is that they'll usually mate for life. So hopefully Sedona out there on the colony will find her perfect mate, and then she'll pair up with them for the rest of her life here at OdySea Aquarium. Now, with our penguins here at the aquarium, there's a lot of different adaptations that they have to navigate their environment. Again, they live on a beautiful beach location in South Africa, where they have to navigate rocky and sandy coastlines inside their environment. So you're gonna see that Sedona over here is really well adapted to be able to move around. Now, one big question we got at the aquarium quite often about our penguins, a lot of our talks and during our feeds, is what's with the tuxedo? Now, not only are these animals adapted for land, but they have to be adapted for the water as well. So that tuxedo is actually her version of camouflage. Yeah, they stick out like a sore thumb on land, right? But inside the water, inside of the water column, any predators looking down at that deep, dark ocean floor are gonna see that black top below them, and Sedona would be hidden. At the same time, if they were underneath Sedona, looking up at the sun's glare, they'd see her white belly, and she'd still be hidden. So counter shading is a way a lot of marine organisms hide inside of a three-dimensional environment. So think about things like orca whales, right? Sharks, stingrays, sea turtles, and penguins. All these animals have a dark top and a light bottom, and that's how they hide. Now, another really cool adaptation that these animals have for the water is a third eyelid. If we're able to see closely here on Sedona, we'll see if Sandy can get her a little bit closer here to say hi to everybody. Come on over, Sedona. You're gonna see that inside of her eye there, she's got eyelids just like me and you that go up and down. But she's got a third one that's going across the side of her eyes. This is a nictitating membrane, and a lot of different marine life have this. It allows them to see underneath the ocean and on land. Her rounded lens is much like ours, and that's great for the air, but if you ever open up your eyes in the pool or in the ocean, it's a little bit hard to see. You're gonna usually need the goggles to be able to see crystal clear. The cool thing about the penguins is that they've got that built right inside. So she's flashing that back and forth just like we would blink our eyes, and that's how she's able to see on land and in the ocean so well. Another really cool thing these animals have as they're navigating the ocean is the ability to catch fish and swallow it whole. Inside of her beak here, she's got all these barbs. See those? A little scary, right? It's like out of a sci-fi film. But all of those barbs inside of her mouth allow her to grab onto fish and swallow them whole. These guys do not chew their food. So kind of like me growing up, I just swallow my dinner whole, right? Get as much as you can. So when these guys are going through the ocean, moving at really quick speeds, sometimes 12 miles per hour, they snag that fish with that big hook beak. Their tongue will come up underneath and then pull it down with those barbs into their stomach. So again, really well adapted for their environment. Now, the penguins are not really long duration divers. They're only swimming for about 2.5 minutes at a max underneath the ocean. What it really comes down to is their speed. And you can see Sedona's checking out all the different wonders here at OdySea, enjoying the nice space that she's got around her to kind of explore around. We're gonna have Sammy see if we can pick her on up here. Now, building a relationship with these penguins is key. Being able to do things like open up Sedona's mouth like we just did before, picking her up, all this is different training that we practice with our penguins that really boils down to their husbandry or their health care. So with these animals here, we practice all of these daily behaviors to make sure we're doing good physical exams on these guys. Checking out those big, strong wings, right? Checking out the inside of their feet, making sure everything looks tip-top and in shape with these animals on a day-to-day basis. So having that very close relationship with these penguins allows us to get as intimate as we are with them and provide them that best care. Now with the penguins here at the aquarium, a little fun fact is that each of the penguins have their own spotted pattern on their belly. No two penguins have the same spots, and that's basically a penguin's version of a thumbprint. Now with 38 penguins here at the aquarium, that's a lot to keep track of. And for our animal care specialists like myself and Sammy, we are able to tell our penguins apart. But whether it be for our guests or newer team members, we have these little identifier bracelets on their left wing, and each one of those colors goes to a number, and then each number goes to a name. So in our system here at the aquarium, we've got red means 2 and light blue means 9. That means Sedona is our 29th penguin here at the aquarium, and she got her name after her beads for the red rocks here in Sedona, right? And those light blue skies that you'll see up north there. Now when Sedona is looking around the aquarium, right, you can see she's very interested in different colors. These animals are able to see in a color spectrum much like me and you. So being able to go on walks like this right now, check out her friends here on the exhibit or just explore what's going on, is a lot of fun for these guys to be able to check out the different things inside of their environment. It's very cool for them to be able to walk around the aquarium floors, and this is no different from the stuff that we do on a day-to-day basis here. Whether we'd have our guests here or unfortunately like right now where we're not able to, our penguins are free to roam around and check out their environment.
All right, Dylan, let's take some questions.
Awesome.
All right. How long do they live is our first question.
It's a great question. Well, in the penguin's natural environment, we're looking around 10 to 20 years potentially, somewhere in that range, usually in that mid-teens. But in human care, we've seen these penguins up to their 30s and even in their 40s. Now again, our penguins here at the aquarium are ambassadors for their wild counterparts. Unfortunately enough, the African penguin is an endangered species, so we want to make sure these animals are around for generations to come. So providing them the best care possible, we're able to extend their lifespan in what we've seen in human care.
Okay, Larry wants to know if they're ticklish. He saw Sammy holding Sedona and wants to know if she has a ticklish spot.
That's a great question. These animals do a lot of preening for flirting. You got to make sure that you can show off that you're a good mate. Like I mentioned before, penguins are monogamous animals, so a relationship is very important to them. So doing things like that preening that Sammy was imitating are ways that we're able to build up our relationship. I'll see if Sedona here wants to give me some attention. Looks like she's looking for Sammy. That's okay.
Okay, Abe wants to know, what do they eat?
That's a great question. Well, here at the aquarium, these guys are getting a nice mix of seafood. Capelin, pan herring, anchovies, and sometimes silverside. In their natural environment, though, with these animals, one of the big things that they'd be looking for is sardines. And unfortunately enough, the overfishing of that particular fish is a big reason these animals are endangered. When we overfish things like sardines inside their environment, those runs that go up through South Africa are just being depleted. One of the big messages that we promote here at OdySea Aquarium is making sure you eat sustainable seafood. And that's actually really easy to do. One of the great partnerships we have is with Monterey Bay Aquarium's Seafood Watch app. This free app will just tell you on your smartphone what types of seafood are good to eat and what types to avoid. So you can leave things like the sardines inside the ocean for the penguins to be able to find.
All right. Abe wants to know, how much do they eat every day?
That's a good question. It really depends. These guys have a nice range inside their year span in terms of the amount they eat because they're going to be molting every year and a half. During their molting process, they're going to be packing on the pounds, and they'll actually gain about 40% extra of their body weight. On a day-to-day basis, we can see these animals eating about 20 to 30% of their body weight, and in kind of an equation to a human's life, that's like eating 120 hamburgers for your middle-sized adult. So it's quite a bit of food. And again, during their molting season, when they're prepping up for that molt, to put on all that extra weight, they're putting on a tremendous amount of food into their stomach to be able to gain that size, because while they're molting, they can't go inside the water. They lose all their feathers at once. So Sedona just went through her molt not too long ago, and it's why she's got a crisp, brand new white pair of feathers on her.
Okay, Mary wants to know, what is the ideal temperature for our African penguins?
That's a really good question. In South Africa, it'd be a little bit seasonal sometimes, and there's really two areas on that western coast that they could live. But really, it's more of a seasonal environment. So what's going on with these guys is that it's going to be around 60 to 70 degrees here in our habitat, and their water is going to be around that 60 to 70 degree range as well. But their water temperatures in South Africa could be as low as sometimes 40, and the hot summer days could reach up to the high 90s potentially as well. So a big fluctuation in terms of their temperatures.
Okay, how big will Sedona get?
That's a really good question. That's her full size. What's really crazy with the penguins here and the African penguins is their growth rates. These animals are going to become full size at about 3 months old. Can you imagine that? All of a sudden you're hatched out of this world in 3 months, you're full size. What you might notice on our exhibit is some of our penguins have a full black hood and some have the white bands above the eyes and that black band across the chest. That difference is between an adult and a juvenile because again, at 3 months, they are fully grown. So Sedona is at her full size right here, and that's gonna be where she's at for the rest of her life.
All right, Erica wants to know, where are her ears?
That's a really good question. These guys have little ear holes right behind their eyes. So if you look kind of just directly back from her eyes, right at kind of the top of her skull there, that's gonna be where her ear holes are located.
Okay.
Yeah, and these guys have really great hearing. One of the big things that's known about the African penguin is their other name. And for family-friendly reasons, that's called the donkey penguin. They get called the donkey penguin because they honk and they squeal like donkeys. Looks like Sedona's checking out all that the aquarium's got to offer. Looking at those different light gradients inside right now. We got some of the lights off.
Okay.
But yeah, with that vocalization, that's how they communicate with their mates. So they do have a pretty good sense of hearing.
Nancy wants to know, what are the predators of an African penguin?
Really good question. Cape fur seals, sharks, and orca whales are all natural predators of these penguins. But again, the African penguin is not endangered because of those three animals. It's because of us as humans. When we do things like overfishing inside of their environment, the penguins are going to have to go out farther and farther inside of the ocean to be able to find fish. When they do that, again, it's hard to be able to find them, and they're more likely to run into those predators. That's why things like sustainable seafood and making sure you're being a smart shopper are so important in the efforts to save these species.
And Sammy, Jessica wants to know about how much does she weigh?
Well, we like to say that Sedona's one of our larger penguins. We say she's a little bit big boned, but these guys generally weigh about 7 to 10 pounds. Sedona's on the higher end of the scale.
And can you tell us her lifespan?
These guys about 15 to 20 years, even longer in human care.
Awesome, all right.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, one of the big things that our penguins like to do here at the aquarium is, well, see all of our guests on a day-to-day basis. During things like our penguin encounter programs or during our penguin parades, we love to raise awareness with our penguins and get them up close and personal with our guests. And unfortunately enough, they really miss you guys. They really miss seeing you around the aquarium, interacting with you down at the window, again, being able to see in color. It's one of their favorite activities. So they are really missing you guys here at the aquarium and filling our halls. And unfortunately enough, with our guests not being able to come here at the aquarium, me and Samantha are here providing them the best care possible, but we really need your help. Here at the aquarium, we participate in a lot of different conservation efforts. One of the big ones being helping out the African penguin. But one of the big things that we could use from all of you is actually donating to us here, to be able to keep the great care of our animals that we maintain on a day-to-day basis, and to help out with their daily care, like us and Sammy coming in here to take care of them. So small things you could do by just going to the OdySea Aquarium webpage, buying tickets for the future, donating, or even looking at our Amazon wish list. These are all great ways to help us enrich lives of our animals, even from at home.
Okay, and one last question, Dylan. Nicole wants to know, what colors can these penguins see?
That's a great question. They see the color spectrum very similar to me and you. Science and research shows that they don't see colors of red too well. Red is the first thing that dissipates inside the water column. So we're really not sure, but we are sure that they're able to see in a color spectrum very similar to us as humans.
Okay, and speaking of colors, I think we've got a fun activity, right?
So right now, one of the big things that we'll do to enrich our penguins here at the aquarium is, well, painting with them. Again, they can see in color, so having them walk around and paint, we will have them walk around on a canvas, not only makes for memorable items for our guests, but it's a great way to interact and spend some one-on-one time with our penguins and have them do something a little bit unique and different. A little fun fact that everybody's a little bit grossed out here is how often the penguins go to the bathroom. They go to the bathroom every 5 to 10 minutes. So we do a lot of cleaning over here at Penguin Poop. So walking in their poop is really no different for them. And so a little thing we do to change that up is have them walk in a little bit of something cleaner, which is paint. So these water-based paints here are going to make a great memorable item that here at the aquarium we're actually going to donate to the Children's Hospital of Phoenix. Not only trying to brighten up the walls there for the children at the hospital, but saying a big thank you to all the members of the team there taking care of everybody inside. So we do thank very much our healthcare workers and staff for taking such great care of everybody during this big time of need. So we want to make a memorable painting here for those individuals. So we've got some of the Children's Hospital of Phoenix colors here. We've got Sedona making them a nice, memorable painting. So just walking around on the canvas here, leaving those penguin footprints. I think you missed the canvas there, Sedona. Looks like we're gonna be doing some cleaning later. We'll see if we can't get one more shot here. Now with the penguin's feet, you might notice that our entire body there, she's covered in feathers except for her feet, right? Those little heat windows. That's how Sedona is able to cool off on her body. That's okay, Sedona. Looks like we're doing a great job of marking up the towels.
Everything else,
yeah,
but
not so much
the canvas.
painting.
That's okay.
She's an artist.
She is.
It's abstract
This
art.
is
Yeah,
abstract.
it's up for interpretation.
Okay.
Here you go, Sedona. Yeah. Good job, girl.
Whoa.
Okay.
That looks beautiful.
Very nice. All right. So we're going to finish up this painting here at the aquarium. We want to say thank you to all of you for tuning in for our Facebook Live and joining us here with our African penguins. You guys have any other questions or you want to learn more about the aquarium, feel free to get on that website, right? Donate to us here at the aquarium and check out our social media for daily content, learning more about the animals here at OdySea Aquarium while you all stay safe and at home. Here at OdySea Aquarium, I'm Dylan, this is Sammy. Thank you so much again, guys, for tuning in. Say bye, Sedona.